everyone, I'm Donnie Rage. I wanted to do a video today about Germanic paganism or paganism and Christianity. A little bit about how paganism was eradicated, when it was eradicated, some of the differences and some of the similarities with Christianity and paganism. And everything I'm saying is my opinion. It's not fact. It's just what I think. The dates I have are as accurate as I can find. Then I'll let you guys make your own conclusions to it. So, paganism outdates Christianity by about 2,000 years. They say that paganism was around since the beginning of humanity. So it was basically the only religion that was around at that time. So there was a Roman emperor, and his name was Theodosius, and he was the very last Roman emperor to control East and West Rome. So he took control, and in that same year he outlawed paganism. So he outlawed everything. Then he was given instructions to soldiers, and I think villagers also, to burn all pagan temples and destroy all pagan writings, which that's why we don't have a lot of information today about paganism, because the stuff that we're finding is, carved into stones and caves, stuff like that. And then we try to decipher it the best we can with linguistics, but nobody really knows what the stuff means, I don't think. That's my opinion. So when he took rule, he basically said, either you're going to convert to Christianity or you're gonna die. That was the one of two choices. And you gotta remember, these were villagers. They weren't warriors. They weren't on battlefields. These were farmers and goat herders. So they didn't want to die. They said, okay, we'll convert, and the ones who didn't were killed. The whole families were killed. They found shallow graves, or shallowish graves, with a family in it. A little kid, and a woman and a man with head cut off, and a sword through them and stuff like that. And they can't prove it, but they're assuming that may be from that time when they were trying to convert everybody from paganism to Christianity. It's I can understand that if they were just killing these people for not converting. I don't know if it was a political move on the emperor's place, or if there was influence from somewhere else. I don't know. But there was emperors before him that were Christian that they didn't care. They worshipped Christianity, and then the pagans worshiped paganism. So it's that thing again where we just don't have the information. And in I think it's 135 to 51 BC was the first time the term Germanic was used. And it was by I'm gonna mess this name up all day long, Pagan Christian. He was a Proto-Norse, and this was the Proto-Norse time. And there's some scholars that are saying that the Elder Futhark fall into that same timeline. between 135 and 51 BC. But then there's other sources that say the Elder Futhark are much older than that. They say that they found stuff that possibly could be 20,000 BC, 10,000 BC, well before any kind of writings that we know of. And this is carbon dating. This is just, I don't know how accurate that stuff is, but that's just what is said. So, and so it's a big dispute on the Elder Futhark. I mean, it is on the writings, the years and stuff like that. They found them. I mean, they found Elder Futhark all over the world. They found Elder Futhark in America, in Germany, Norway, Sweden, and they don't even know if that's where it originated from, or they don't even know where paganism originated from, because there could have been invaders from somewhere else that invaded that region and converted these people from whatever they were to paganism, just like Theodosius did. I mean, we don't know. And after all the writings were burned, I mean, we have no way to fucking know, which sucks. So now to get into so we'll say people are converting to paganism now, or to Christianity now. Now, if you look in the Bible, there's things in there that refer to pagans. And I think they put this stuff in there to deter anyone from reverting back to paganism. There's a reference to pagan in the Bible. It's called a paganus, I believe, which means heathen or people who don't worship the God of Abraham, which is understandable. Oh, it also, I forgot the other part. It goes back for anybody who worships the old god or old gods is a paganus. And the old gods would be Odin and Thor and so on and so forth. And so they don't want them to convert back, right? Because, I mean, they have everybody under control. They have everybody worshiping one God, and that's it. The difference between that is in paganism, you don't worship gods. There's a new thing with Odinism and all this, and that's not the way things were. They never worshipped gods back then. They would contact the gods if they had a problem or needed guidance, and they would contact a certain deity with whatever that problem associated with and try to get guidance. So that's the difference between, one of the differences between the pagan religion and the Christianity religion. So, and I do have some notes here, so if you see me flipping, it's just because I can't remember all this from what's in my head and then stuff I research. So, where unlike, Christianity, pagans weren't told to worship only one God. In Christianity, you were told you need to worship one God, and that is it. And you will follow that God, and you will worship no other gods or deities or entities. And that was the bottom line. So they wanted 100% control and worship. And that sounds like a lot of control. You're trying to push everybody into a funnel to worship one God. Even though your previous religion, there were multiple gods and goddesses. It's a control issue. And they say, he says the reason why they did this was because, people were sacrificing their children and all this other stuff. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I don't see how you could sacrifice your child. I mean, we're different in this day and age, but even back then, your child is your child. There ain't no right-minded person that's going to sacrifice their child to a god. They would rather die than sacrifice their child. And it's human nature to protect your children. So, now we'll get into a little bit of what Christianity and paganism have in common. So the big one that everybody knows is Yule or Christmas. In the Bible, it says that Jesus was born in the spring or something like that, late spring. But Christmas is in December. And Yule, or what was it called? The midwinter nights were celebrated after the solstice, the last solstice of the year, and that's right after Christmas. I mean, I think it's January. Well, it changed every year, but it's like January 15th or something like that. So I mean, that time frame kind of loops together. And nobody really knows where the name Yule came from. They think it came along later in paganism, but it was the winter solstice that is what that represents. So, another thing, speaking of Christmas, that I was reading some stuff and kind of caught me, and I made my own assumptions about it. So during Christmas, you kiss under the mistletoe. I never knew why or what the meaning was behind the mistletoe. So if you know the story of Balder, if not, I'll give you a brief breakdown. Balder was having nightmares about his death, and upon his death, Ragnarok will come. So Frigga went to all the entities and the plants and the rocks and creatures and asked or told them all to promise not to kill Balder, and they all agreed. She did not ask mistletoe because she thought the mistletoe was no threat to Balder. So when Loki found out after he disguised himself, he resented Balder, so he had Balder's brother, which was blind, throw a spear at him that was wrapped in mistletoe, which killed Balder. That whole, the whole night, which I'm assuming, from everything I read, it's basically the winter solstice is when this happened. So Christmas. Would make sense why there's a mistletoe during Christmas, and it's another thing that comes back from paganism. And the reason why I think that people will kiss under the mistletoe, and this is just my opinion, is that the mistletoe was the one thing that killed the unkillable god. And you're paying your respect to its magical power and its longevity. And that's why you kiss for luck, I guess. It's another one of my assumptions. So it's just an assumption of mine. It's just this little stuff that, all the stuff I've read, I get all these things in my head and I just think, okay, it might be this. So now we're going to go to the Book of Enoch. So the Book of Enoch is part of the Dead Sea Scrolls. And if you've never heard of the Book of Enoch or Dead Sea Scrolls, I recommend you look them up. It's very, very interesting. So there's one part in the Book of Enoch that says fallen angels had come to earth and had sex with human women. And the outcome was they had kids that were giants. And the giants were called Nephilim. Sound familiar? Maybe a little bit. So, Nephilim is where the ice giants in Norse mythology live. You have a book of Christianity that runs right in line with Norse mythology, which, I mean, it absolutely blows my mind. Talking about gods having relations and a giant coming out of it. I mean, Nephilim is the ice giant's home. I mean, hell controlled that realm. And it was so, I don't know if shocking is the word to use to the Christian scholars, that they tried to destroy the book, got rid of it, would not put it in the Old Testament or the New Testament, because it says that the book of Enoch also reveals secrets of the creation, magic, the ways of the earth, wind, air, and fire. Yeah, going right back to Norse. And the teachings of magic were a really big thing, because that was one of the reasons why Christianity really didn't want paganism around, was because of the magic and necromancy and stuff like that, is what they say. The Book of Enoch also references to a tree of power, Yggdrasil, in my opinion, which is another huge coincidence. I mean, it's huge. So, to creation of humanity. So, in Christian religion, Adam and Eve were the first humans to walk the earth. They were the ancestors of all of us. Now, if you look at when that was written in the Bible, and then you look at Odin's writings. In Odin's writings, now follow me with this one, Ash and Elm, Adam and Eve, Ash and Elm, were the first humans created. Odin and his brothers found tree trunks that were driftwood on the beach made out of ash tree and oak tree, and created the first two humans out of this, which is, it's absolutely amazing. And the names that they use in Norse paganism is, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, is Askal and Embla, which basically are ash and elm. I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking it means in, Norse paganism. So, when him and his brothers created ash and elm out of these tree trunks, all three brothers, Odin, Via and Vi, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong too, all gave the humans something. All gave them humility and strength, stuff like that. That's not exactly it, but that's basically the gist of it. And that was around well before anything in Christianity even mentioned the creation of Adam and Eve. I mean, Adam and Eve, ash and elm. You could have come up with better names, make it look like you're not ripping off old paganism. I mean, you really could have. And if you look at the Book of Enoch. It's written in Aramaic, early Aramaic, and it's really, 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 it reminds me of the short twig Futhark. Some of the symbols, I mean, they look really close. It's not the same. It's not even close the same, but a lot of the symbols are very, very close to some of that. Which, I mean, Twig Futhark might have got converted because it's basically Ethiopians is who keep this book as their religion. I mean, that's one of those things that, I mean, it's hard to go, yeah, now I completely believe in this, but I don't believe in this. You can't do that. And I have nothing against Christianity. I mean, I want everybody to do what makes them happy. If following Christianity is your path, absolutely take it. I will never, ever down anybody for it. I'm just pointing out some facts, or at least I see them as facts. They're my opinions of what could possibly be. I mean, it could possibly be. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. And the other thing with the Enoch is they say God told Enoch that there were 7 heavens, 7th heaven. And now if you look at it, Norse is 9 realms. So 7 heavens. Now if you take out hell and earth from Norse pagan, you have 7 realms. Possible? Maybe? Hard to say. Where's that? I had one more thing. I couldn't remember what it was. Oh, that was something else. I was right. But just the simple little facts of all these writings that we do have now that were recovered, the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Book of Enoch, and anything that we got from Norse paganism, and the carbon dating back to the times when paganism was around, and they're realizing how long ago it was. There has been allegedly giants found. Their skeletal remains have been found in Sweden, Norway, and the Netherlands. I mean, it's a real good possibility. I mean, it's just one of those things that, I mean, you can't really ignore it. I'm going to probably make a little more of this. It's just, I started writing this and it just blew my mind how much that one is ripping off the other. And that's how you get people to convert from one religion to another. Well, guys, I just want to do that video real quick. I really appreciate it. Scowl, I'm Dying Rage.